Let's take a look at ARP poisoning. ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. When we are pinging an IP address, whoops, I should find out what my IP address is, IP space A. I am on a bridged adapter. I can tell that because this is showing my local network, 192.168.9. So my default gateway is going to be 192.168.9.1. I know that because this is my network. And that didn't work. Try that again. 192.168.9.1. That's my default gateway. And so I'm getting a ping. Well, how do I ping that? How does my computer know how to translate this logical operating system address into, as we have talked about earlier, actually when you're communicating in a local network, you have to use the MAC address. It's done by a protocol called ARP. And this shows, there it is. That's my MAC address for my router that gets me to the internet. Here is my server's MAC address. Here is my computer, which is, I have a bridged adapter. So my Kali Linux machine is behaving as though it is my computer because it is bridged. So if you go to Machine and Settings, my network is bridged to my PCIe, my family controller. Yours might be wireless, it doesn't matter. That means you're part of the network. Now when you do this exercise, you are going to turn off the internet access. But that's fine. We're going to next determine our internet server, our DNS servers. So sudo cat concatenate means that we're going to display the contents of this file. And you've heard me say this before. Everything on Linux is a text file. And there it is. There's my name servers. Those are automatically put in there when my Kali Linux machine gets DHCP. So that's my server down in the basement. And I always have a backup name server. In this case, I use Google on my network. Okay. Now, how do we determine our gateway address? Again, sudo route -n, not again, we haven't done it yet. And that determines my routing table. Well, if I'm going anywhere other than my local network, I go here. This is saying that if the destination is on my local network, I do not go to the gateway. It is on my local network. And that's really how computers route. Either it's on your network, the address you're going to is on your network, or it isn't, and you go to the gateway. Really, that's the only decision your computer has to make. So we're going to change the ARP entry of our gateway. So sudo ARP -s. So we're going to change the ARP entry for 192.168.9.1 to something else. Well, we can just make up a bunch of numbers. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we do ARP again, it's back here somewhere. Look at there. This is not the right MAC address anymore. So that means I've lost internet access. If I ping google.com, I'm going to get nowhere. I just poisoned my ARP cache so I can't get to the internet anymore. How is that useful for a hacker? Well, they can use that to redirect you to somewhere else if they wish. If you get a piece of spyware, it can have you use a different router as your gateway. We probably need to delete that spoofed entry though. So sudo ARP -d. You can also take down a network. If you broadcast that to everybody on the network, you can poison everybody's ARP cache. We're not doing that in this particular lab. And there I'm going to delete that entry. Oh. What did I do wrong here? Sudo, oh, apt, yes. Needs to be ARP. That deletes that entry. However, it's going to come right back to the right entry. Once I try, see it's not there. But if I ping google.com, my computer is going to say, oh, I have to get to the default gateway to get out of my network. And then it'll resolve the default gateway, and then it'll send out an ARP broadcast, and that'll bring back the MAC address, and there it is. There's the real MAC address. So you're back on the internet. So that is how you can spoof things. Spoofing means that you're pretending to be somebody else.